Well, it's Monday, and it's leaders, woohoo, and legacy in style, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Welcome. I know it's a holiday week still, but it's always great to have you here. I am Joy Ruffin, and the work that I do is as a leadership and signature style specialist. There's a lot more involved with that, but every Monday, most every Monday, I bring to you a featured guest speaker. And because I don't want to waste any time today, because I'm excited, well, I'm always excited. I want to bring, now he goes by the name Ruke, R-U-K-E. He has a first name, maybe a last name, but we just call him Ruke. What I want you to do is just sit back and relax, but I want to tell you just a little bit about him, because I want him to come up, because we're going to be talking about his subject. He labels himself the dream champion. He's a top performer in branding, marketing, and sales. And he's known for this mantra, which I love. You're going to love it too. Helping entrepreneurial people win every day. And today we're stepping into, well, it's not unknown terrain, but it's a little bit different. And this conversation is really made for you to open up, to tune in, and hear what we have to say, because I'm eager to share this conversation with you and with Ruke. So I could go on and on and on. I could tell you a lot more about him, but I want him to come up. So I'm going to help you sit back, relax, and help me welcome our featured guest speaker, Ruke. Come on up, as they say. How are you?
I love you.
The feeling is mutual, and I can go on and on. Both of us can, but I want you tell us how you started this helping entrepreneurials win every day. I love that mantra.
The compressed story.
Mm-hmm.
I was agency, full service marketing advertising firm is one of the companies I own. We do branding, marketing, sales. You heard that, but I was running the company, and I had about 20 employees at the time, and I did look at them as employees, not teammates. I had a different perspective back then, and someone said, "Hey, come check this out." And I did, and it was this entrepreneurial convention. I was like, oh my gosh, these people, I love these people. They're like me, they're weird. And I fell in love. And so from that point, I had a deep empathy for them. I loved the energy and the attitude. But I also noticed that the people that they were learning from that was on stage, I was in the audience, and I was going, well, listen to the gurus going, well, that's not true. That doesn't work. And that's going to go horribly wrong. And what I felt, and this is how I feel a lot of times, and especially nowadays that me, and I'm very known for, if I see an issue, I'm going to step in. And so I was asked to teach, and what I did was I was teaching my team. This is how I grew my company internally to scale it. But I took my internal lessons and I made them look pretty. They look like this, and I started giving them out. I started giving them out from stage and giving the real answers, which made some people upset. Because some people were like, I charge money for that. He's giving it away for free. But what I was doing, I was helping people, and it was awesome. And then they were like, hey, we want to hang out. And that started the business club. And I've never stopped. If I can do something to help someone, I'm going to do it. The greatest lesson that I ever heard, and I still abide by today in this little art piece, this animated art piece is a tribute to it. I was in middle school, and they had electives, and my mom noticed I was stressed, and she goes, why are you stressed? And I said, well, they have violin and they have computers, and I want to take these, but I don't want to mess with my career, because I've been an artist, privately trained since the 3rd grade. And she said, you're worried about the wrong thing. She goes, do what you love and figure out how to make money with it. So that's what that means. Yeah, that's my mama. She's smart. Mama. That's what I live by. That's it. Do what I love and figure out how to make money with it. And so, and this, so that's my jam. And so since I did that as a kid, and that's all I focused on. So half of this is I work with half my thoughts and half my brain, because I just do what I love. Right? I don't think there, but I do think about how to make money with it. And I'm really good about helping others do the same thing. And so since I've lived a dream on top of a dream on top of a dream, I believe everybody should live their dreams. And I want to give everybody access to the information that I know is true, that we do day in, day out, so that they can live their dreams, because it's important to me. And I'll stop with this. And I do recognize this. A lot of people don't get this, because a lot of people build businesses for themselves, a lifestyle business that caters to their desires. And look, if you want to talk to me, it'll be just this time on this day, really rigid. But here's the truth. If you help others make money, you will always make money.
Yes, we've heard that in different verbiage from time to time. I
Yeah.
love everything that you share with us, Ruke, especially about the energy. And one of the reasons most of us are aligned with you in whatever capacity we are is because your integrity, your loyalty, and your transparency is always upfront. And
Yeah.
that's what most all of us look for. And we have that within ourselves and we seek it in others. So I love that. Now, today we're going to go off the rails, so to speak.
Let's do it.
Deep into the matrix, and it's okay because into the rabbit hole, but it's needed. And I love it that you're picking up the banner and you're running with it. We're going to talk a lot about the LGBTQ community.
Good
Now,
for
one
you,
of the
Sam.
things that you said to me before we get going here, you said
Yeah.
that what you do when you're getting public negative response, but private positive response. Now, I think you just spoke to that a wee bit. Expound on that a wee bit further before we jump into what we're really going to be talking about.
All right. So real quick, you know me because I always drink out of my silver cup, right? Every every week. So here's another life lessons. So when your 14-year-old comes into your studio and goes, "Hey, Dad, let's go to Starbucks because they like their summer drinks," you go, "Yes." So today I'm drinking. This is brought to you not by Starbucks. This is brought to you by my 14-year-old.
Woohoo.
That's a real life. So I'm gonna be drinking out of it, but that's a real life lesson. When your 14-year-old comes in and says, "Dad, let's go do something,"
Let's go.
you go, "Let me just shut this down, this window down, and I'm there." Let's see you there. So yeah, so the all right, so it's a big subject, and what really went down this rabbit hole for me, just the subject wise, was that when I meet someone that's of a faith-based something, I like to throw cards out there. I have no judgments. I don't care, and I'm not here to change people's minds. That's not my job. I'm just here to just make you laugh and give you information and champion you. And so when I meet someone who is also of faith and maybe there's something we're going to do together, I throw my cards on the table. I just say, "Here's some information." Not expecting anything back. And I said, I believe in the Bible. I recognize man's fingerprints and man's agenda all throughout it. And my child's queer and it's freaking awesome. And that spurred a conversation, and that was the first time someone came at me with negativity. Because look, first of all, I'm not a small guy. I'm like 6'3", 300 pounds. I'm not a small guy. And so that was unusual. But what I realized, because I didn't want to, I was like, well, that's not really what that means. And that verse really doesn't mean, well, then he went off the rails. Well, is this a sin? And this is sin? I'm like, well, now you're just being gross. But here's the deal. I didn't have an intelligent response, scriptural intelligence response. And so then I found a church and my pastor, Brad Jagger, who we developed a brand with and we're doing things together. I just call him Jagger, right? Ruke and Jagger. How do you get wrong with that? And someone came in. Well, he's a theologist, he's an historian, an academic, and a pastor, and of Windermere Union Church. It's a United Church of Christ. And he came to my house, my studio. We hung out for hours, and it was refreshing. And I got to tell you, I'm a Southern Baptist deacon. I got a Bible almost on every surface in my studio. I've started congregations. I've led congregations. I've been kicked out of 3 churches. Not really, but you get it. 3 times. I was born and raised in a Baptist church, and it was an open church, though, by the way. So I don't know what it's like not to be a part of that. And I only share that like, oh my gosh, I am seeing the Bible for the first time ever in my life. Not really, but that's where I'm at with this. Like, I had no idea. Yeah, it's crazy what he was giving me. And so, so that started my journey. And what happened was someone came into our congregation and came with a negative rhetoric of, this is a sin. You're going to go to bad places and all this. And that's when I hit him, because we were looking at what do we want to do together, because he's so profound at what he does. And Joy, you'll love him. He says it unemotionally. I mean, you could talk anything, and he's like, here's this, and he's really, really great. And so I said, I think this is it. I think we need to create something to give the LGBTQ plus community a real reference of the scriptures that have been weaponized against them. And by the way, this is on Amazon, and I'll give you a link. It's on Amazon today.
Do
and it's your Bible. I made it. And this is a reference guide. I mean, we're coming out with a whole full book. We have an 8-series sermons. We're in like week 6. But this is a quick a quick reference guide that has, here's a scripture, here's a literalist perspective, and then here's a contextual perspective. Yeah. And my aunt was like, this is in big print. I said, yes, I know, dear. I made it for you. It's kind of true. But the point is it's really, really cool. And we're just taking those big verses that people use against the community and kind of breaking them down.
Ruke, it is fascinating, and I'm looking forward to meeting him. I really am, because what I loved it all. You've heard me say several times that I was born and raised in the church as well. I left the church. I didn't leave God. So when you said you were kicked out of 3 churches, that cracked me up.
I was, but I wasn't. So I'm going to name the church. It's no longer there because they evolved. It's the First Baptist Church of Fort Myers. And it was 160 years. 67 or 70 years, something like that, when I left. And it basically was, I was no longer effective. They wanted me to go in a direction, but they really didn't want to take it that direction. And it was very obvious I wasn't effective. I still call them my home church, my home people, because I love them dearly. And we all have, so it's still a healthy relationship. It was just, I wasn't effective.
Yeah. Well, that's where your transparency comes through. Those 3 keys that I mentioned to you, the integrity, the loyalty, and the transparency. That said, most all of us, it's never all, but most of all of us, and I know I do, you have what people call gay and all the other names that they give. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in my family. So that's why I was eager to share this conversation with you. Now, you said to me what it means to be an active ally. That's what I want you to speak more about. You spoke to it already, but take it further. Why do all of us have to be more involved to become more active and an ally in what's happening here in the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah. So let me hit the top line. I don't care if you believe what I believe. You don't have to. You don't have to subscribe. It is about love, though, right? I believe in love and acceptance, and you don't have to go as far as I do, but I think it's important to be kind to others and all that fun stuff. The golden rule. Love thy neighbor. And so I think that's super, super important. Now, here's the deal. I started this series with my pastor, and I did the first promotion, and it got a big response, and a lot of it was negative. And then, of course, my team and those close to me like, what did you expect? I said, well, honestly, I put it on Facebook. Honestly, I thought my aunt would give it a thumbs up, and that's about it. Because that's how my Facebook is. Hundreds of comments within days, hundreds. And like over 60% were negative. Like, really? Yeah, some hateful, but just negative. Like it's a sin and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Throwing scriptures as if I didn't know the scriptures in the series at me, which I thought was ironic. But here's what I saw, though. The likes and the hearts were 60+% more positive. Ooh. So the vocal was negative, but the silent little quick, hey, we encourage you, was positive. And that confirmed to me real quickly that, confirmed to me real quickly, and then backed up by people actually calling me and messaging me, which were all positive, was that the community at large doesn't have the language to scripturally say, or and I don't want to say combat or argue, because that's not the point, but to answer, hey, this scripture says this, but they go, well, no, actually within context, this is what this really, really means. And so they don't have that language or that information, especially in a concise way. That's why I'm so proud of just the reference guide alone. But just the reference guide alone, because it gives you every one of the big 8 weaponized scriptures. There's your real information, the story behind the story. And so that's when I realized that, wow, they don't have the information, but they're also close to it. And that's where the active ally, I mean, like you and I are allies for a lot of people, and we hold space for a lot of people. But an active ally is someone who speaks up for others. Yes. Now, I'm not talking about fighting or anything like that, but just speaks up for others. And that's where I realized that I was being an active ally, because I can say it differently. And I take model from my pastor, who is an extreme active ally, who says things unemotionally that are just, hey, here's the information without any argument. That's not easy. And I'm learning that to do that well. But that's an active ally. And when I saw that, we're not, while my child is trans, which is perfect, I am not. So I don't have, and by the way, my child lives in a bubble that I designed, so that's beautiful. I don't have the scars of a lot of people in this community that have to live with it every day. So it's hard for
Yes.
them to articulate unemotionally to others who are coming at them without causing the argument. And I'm not telling them how to act, but what I am saying is that's why I saw so many vocal negative, but not as many vocal positive. But I did get the support because they just didn't know what to say, or they were too close, too scarred to say something without being emotional and triggered.
Oh, I love that. I love that for a lot of different reasons, but one reason especially because, as I said, most families have one or two or more in the family background. I had a first cousin that I adored. We all knew that he was what was called back in the day gay.
Mine,
But
like as a
nobody could
child,
mention
you're
it
like,
because of
that
this
one
women.
is, yep.
Yes, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. I'm going to take a quick little break here, reset. But when I come back, I want to talk about the difference between being invited versus being welcome. That's a biggie. So hold tight for that, and I'll be back with you in just a second. I promised you, and I said that this would be a really, what's the key word today? Juicy conversation. But it's an enlightening conversation. You know that I'm the minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings. But I'm going to ask you to join my Facebook group because we're looking for eagles here, open-minded people, just like Ruke is here today. Come and join us because we need your vision, your mission, and your purpose, and we want you to be open. You are the light worker, the light keeper, the star seed. It doesn't matter, way shore, whatever name you give yourself, but you belong in this group, leading ladies, leading legacies. And every gent, Ruke has the most fabulous wife, significant other partner in life. And I bet I'm going to ask her to join this group as well. So please take a screenshot or a snapshot and join us there. The other group that I'd like for you to connect with every weekday at 8 p.m., whenever you can get there, go there, check in, peek in, see what they're doing and what they're all about, and then see if this is going to be something for you. It's created for anyone who wants to be global and expand way beyond and all the work that they're doing. Now, let's take a look, and I really want you to take a screenshot. Join my Facebook group, but I really want you to join Ruke's group or community, so to speak, because that banner that we're going to put up for you, I want you to take a screenshot or a snapshot and join this community. Go here and see what he's talking about, what we're both excited to share with you, because this is his pastor, himself, and others who are involved with this LGBTQ plus community and Christianity. Oh, it's a heck of a blend, isn't it? But you're invited. Make sure you take the screenshot and the snapshot and join us there. Now, Ruke, I want to get back and chat with you about the difference between being invited and being versus welcome.
I'm gonna do that, and I want to give you an aha moment. First of all, thank you very much for promoting that. Of rebelfaith.com is the joint venture between me and my pastor. It's right there in the bottom right. So just put that as the .com of Rebel Faith, or Google any of that. It works. Google image it, and it'll work.
That's what we needed on the poster here, but okay, we'll see if we can do that. All right.
And this is the first of many series. So while the LGBTQ plus was a spark of us creating something like this is deep. I'm talking about 8 weeks, Bible studies, Sunday school lessons. I mean, it's big. We are going to cover a lot of other subject matters, but I want to give this to you because I'm going to talk to you a little bit about community, and that's the difference. And there's a big deal about being invited versus being welcome.
Yes.
So the simple, quick answer to you is it's one thing to invite someone to be a part of something. It's another thing to actually welcome them. And I just want that to sit. It's a different energy. It's a different purpose. It really, really is. And being an active ally, welcoming is really, really big. I want to share with you about communities, but I'm going to start this first. This is my one of my fun facts for you that I didn't know. A lot of people don't know this. Ooh. Do you know that the word, okay, so there's a Bible verse that says the homosexuals will not inherit the kingdom of heaven, you know, that kind of stuff, and it's bad, blah, blah. The Bible has that, and I'm going to say some Bibles. So that word wasn't put into the Bible until 1846. The word homosexual. I know, right? So the word homosexual was put into the Bible for the first time in 1846. That's got to make you think about why. Now, here's the deal. That word was created, the word homosexual was created by a German, Carla Maria, who was a advocate for human rights. And the word was created by them to say this group of people to stand together to create a community. That's why the word was created. And now we've kind of weaponized that, right? That's become kind of that's a homosexual and homosexuality is bad. That kind of spurs why the LGBTQ plus acronyms started. And it was interesting. And I was even talking to Evan, which is my child. I said, "What does it mean to you?" And they said it beautifully. They said and they felt like me, like we don't like boxes and we don't necessarily like labels. But what I realized, especially by their definition and others, is it is a way for us to communicate to others that we belong in and a signal to each other that you're good, you're safe here. And so this identity that they're speaking to is descriptive of where I belong, not necessarily the actions. It's just the identity going, we are same thought, same feelings, same life pursuing. And that's why I said, okay, I dig it. Because I don't like labels, but I'm like, I see why these labels are so super important. Fun fact also, and while the word homosexuality was put in the Bible for the first time in 1860, I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic, you know that. So 1946, all right. In 1971, they started taking it out because they realized, and so those who actually were using it, like, and put it there for that reason, were realizing it's been misused, mistranslated, and it really didn't mean what the verse really meant. Now, some Bibles have it, just a couple, but yeah, interesting, right?
Fascinating, and beautifully described to us about community and the difference, which we know, but sometimes you have to hear it resonate from someone else, rather have it resonate with us. The difference between being invited and welcome, because that leads me to, what does inclusion really mean in the community that we're talking about? How do you, like your son who's transitioning, Evan, what does that mean, the inclusion? How do you bring us to a better understanding of that?
So there's this phrase, and it's in our materials, is we can't and Jagger says this, Pastor Jagger.
Yes.
We can expect others to love us if we don't love them.
Absolutely.
It's like the golden rule. I get that. But in the modern way, that is that, inclusion means we have to include everybody, even when they don't agree with us.
Exactly.
Especially when they don't agree with us. And to have a conversation and knowing that your points are different, and you do not have to agree, at least here. And that's what, I'll be honest with you, I'm very proud of this. The book, the reference guide, and everything you're doing, because it presents both perspectives purely, and it doesn't mess with the scripture. Here's what the words actually mean. Here's how two different parties are seeing that, so that you can make up your mind. I feel that's super inclusive. There's no twist to that. And inclusive means that you are kind, you listen to, you welcome all kinds of people from different backgrounds, beliefs, identities, all that they are generally included and not excluded. And I believe that one of the challenges, and I've had this, I had this conversation with someone that you and I actually both know, you know them a little bit, where they said, well, I feel like it's a sin. And I said, I appreciate that, but you got to understand that is really excluding people. That it's actually kind of hate speech. And I didn't say it that way because I'm not triggered by that, but because they were like, I'm saying it out of love. And I said, no, you're saying it out of love, out of your perspective. But when you tell someone that they are doing wrong, you're condemning them. So by keep posting that, especially on my posts, posting that out there, it is coming hateful. Yeah. And that's not inclusive. You don't have to agree with everybody, but giving everybody respect and space and allow them to be who they are, that's inclusive.
Well, Ruke, this is the beginning of time. This has always been the conversation of pinpointing, being able to communicate and in love and stay open. You mentioned two key words here. People want to feel safe and they want to feel that they belong, and they want their opinions to be heard. All well and good, but you also have to hear what someone else has to say and be open to it. That openness, that awareness. I love what you're doing. When you let's talk about the meaning of transition and how do we support. You've given us a lot of tips and tools and nuggets to work with and think further about. The one about 1846 and that word going into the Bible. I mean, really. But how do we, all of us who are attempting in every way to be more loving and more open, how do we help the people who are in this circle to transition and to feel welcome and safe around us.
Yeah. So let me tell you what I learned about the word transition.
Yes.
So Evan is like a perfect child. And I'm not exaggerating. And Evan is 18. And when Evan came out, Evan was like, and this was several years ago. Mom, Dad, I gotta tell you something. And me and my wife, and because we're telepathic, because we've been blissfully married for 29 years. So we're both going, oh yeah, we want to hear this. Like, yeah, right. You messed up. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
You know, because knowing that there's nothing they did that would be wrong, honestly. So we're like, okay, I want to see what in her mind is wrong. And they go, I have to tell you that I have a girlfriend. And our response was like, you're gay? That's awesome. And they go, no. Oh, no, that's awesome. Why were you afraid to tell us? And they go, well, no, I knew you wouldn't care about that. I thought you'd be mad that I'm dating. And we said, oh, honey, you're the smart one. You're okay. You're good. You know, and so I share that because it's cute. And they were probably 14, maybe something like that. So, of that age.
Yes.
And so me and Evan were actually about to do a New York trip, and I knew that this was on a conversation. They're my buddy, travel buddy. So I knew that we're gonna be spending time together, and all this.
Yes.
And so I want to make sure I had this conversation, so everything was cool, because I know that they were doing research on this. And I said, hey, talk to me about this transition thing. And Evan was just telling me all the thoughts, the plans from the hormones, not, and where they're coming from, and even what they're doing, how to work out and all this kind of stuff. And I got it. By the way, brilliant plan. I'm like, okay, you thought of everything and you're very clear on all this, which is with the research and everything. Because they're like, I'm not going to do this because that's not good. And this is, I said, that's awesome. I said, and this is what popped into, and this is where I found the definition of transition. I said, my only request is allow Dad to transition with you.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I was a brilliant one, right? I said that in front of the church, by the way. I'm the warm-up act for the pastor for the series. And so, but I say that to you all because that doesn't just apply to Evan, right? Evan has a clear, and by the way, this applies to our partners, our spouses, our kids, the people we work with, for us. And it is that they, and especially Evan, has an ideal of what Evan wants to be. I can't see it. Now they have shown me pictures like this is an actor that I like, and their body's kind of like mine, body for him. So I'm kind of seeing what that looks like. But they have an idea of that, and they're pursuing it in their mind. They're all, even when they see a glimpse in their imagination, or even when in reality they see their future themselves. And that's one of the things that you and I love hanging out, because we're always pursuing that. But we don't see it. Right. We're here where we are right now. We don't know where it's going. And so that is important, that those who are moving, allow others to move as well with them.
Absolutely. Ruke, I cannot tell you how I was going to ask you for your pearls of wisdom, because the time flies here. It's over. It's gone. But I know everybody said, because we all get so excited and wound up in what we're doing and what we're sharing. But you ended with pearls of wisdom. Allow me to transition with you. That's stuck in my noodle. You have any other pearls of wisdom or nuggets that you want to leave us with? Because the time is over. We're going to shoot you into the green room, but whatever you want to say it now, and I'm going to wrap it
real quick. That's it. In life, okay, I don't care. Let's go biblically. I don't care when you look at Christ, when he talked about the golden rule, and it talks about love thy neighbor as you love yourself. It says love your God with all your heart and all that too. But it also says then it ends with, after that, all things hang on this. All laws, all this hangs on this. So that means if you're ever looking at anything, any conversation, any scripture, anything in life, if you find a confliction with it, look at what is the hate part of it and what's the love part of it, and put the lens of love on it. Put that filter, especially in the Bible. Put the filter of love going, where's the love in this, and how would the love show up? And that's a great guidance when you're reading a lot of things that you might not understand.
Much love, my friend. Thank you. We're going to scoot you into the green room, but I cannot tell you how much you've opened up the doors for many of us. Thank you. Friends, why this conversation matters? Well, I don't need to say anything except tune in, listen, invite your friends to tune in and listen, and to connect. I can't wait to meet Pastor Jagger. I mean, he sounds like Ruke. an exciting person to get to know, because we're all on a different road path, but it's all going to end up in the same direction, and love. He mentioned that word love. So wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good day, maybe to some of you, good night. This is Monday. Make it the best week ever. I know it's after the holiday weekend, and maybe few people are, but whatever and wherever, all the best and much love always from my heart to yours. Cheers.